Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Vivian from ThePaperLetterBlog, and today we're making a vintage loaded card flip book. Now, I did not realize so many of you actually like the vintage style slash theme. I know that it's popular, but I didn't know it was that popular because it actually got requested quite a lot. I also did a vote over on my Patreon, and vintage themed mail was actually the most popular option. So that was a learning experience. This is, by the way, not the vintage mail that I made after the Patreon vote. I already made this a couple weeks ago. So I'm still going to make another vintage themed mail for that, for like the Patreon people who voted. If you don't know what Patreon is, everything is linked down below and you can check it out. But today I'm showing you this vintage mail. As you could see, I started by picking a postcard, or a greeting card actually, out of my box of cards. When I started this, I didn't have a clear idea of what I was going to make today. I was thinking of doing a postcard and then putting like goodies on the back. I've done that before, but then I found this greeting card actually with a vintage style. It has like stamps on it. I don't remember exactly, but you can see it in the background. It's a card with an envelope, so I decided just to go with that and start from there. And then you can also see me pick different goodies, such as the letter writing paper. I've had that letter writing paper for a very long time. It's one of the first like blocks of writing paper I ever bought, and it's again vintage themed. What I did is I used one of the Ecoline brush pens to write dear, but because this did not have a receiver yet, I decided just to leave it blank. Just wrote dear, dear, and then obviously I filled in the name when I did have a receiver, and now I'm just using a fine liner to add some accents and to doodle some little flowers. What I also did is I used those little stamps, little number stamps that I got in that Your Creative Studio box, and I used that to stamp the date. They're actually some of my most used stamps now because they're simple numbers, and I also like using them for numbering my letter. So yeah, that was a little different camera angle. Before you start asking me, no, that is not something I can do more regularly, because I actually had to hold my tripod, my small tripod, on my legs, in between my arms. So it's like in order to film from that angle, so it's not comfortable, and I could only do that for a short amount of time. So I did want to include like a little bit, I do want to include more different angles, because I also know that it's fun and it keeps this video a bit more interesting, but that angle was not good. No. We're gonna have to figure it out. So like I said, yeah, the Your Creative Studio box, this is not sponsored, but I did receive that box for free. It's basically a vintage themed stationery subscription box. I unboxed that a little while ago. I will link it down below if you want to check it out. It is, I said vintage style, like vintage themed, because the goodies are not actually vintage, they just look vintage, which is fine by me, but for some people that may be a deal breaker. And I put a lot more vintage goodies into the box that I have been collecting, just because I like having everything together. But I think actually the main part of the goodies I'm using today are from that specific box I received. So we had the stamps that I stamped on top of that vellum goodie bag. That was also part of the box. I just tore a piece of the goodie bag off, and then I stamped on top of that with the clear stamps that were included. They're like, the image on the stamps is like a newspaper, you know, newspaper headlines, so that matched pretty well. And then I'm adding these vintage looking tickets and some actual vintage stamps that I had been collecting. The only problem with me always is that I have no idea how I'm going to like organize all of this, so I keep moving stuff around 20 times until I'm satisfied. But that's just how I work. And then while I'm working, I can tell you a little bit about this week, because I'm not actually here. I'm not actually in my craft room. I mean, I am when I'm doing this voiceover, but when you're watching this, I am not. I'm going to be visiting my parents for a couple of days at the farm because I miss my parents a whole lot, and I felt like I needed a change of scenery. I love my boyfriend, I love our house, but being stuck inside for all of this time, it takes a toll on me, and luckily we haven't had any fights yet, which is absolutely incredible, but I don't know, I feel like a change of scenery would be healthy for me and my mental health especially. So I'm going to be visiting my parents, and I also have a goal for when I visit my parents, and that is to sort of reset my focal point. Does that make sense? I don't know. I will explain. And the reason why I'm going to explain is not to complain, not like a sob story, but actually because I learned this from someone on Instagram. Her name is Marloes de Vey. She's an illustrator, and she shared this on her Instagram a long time ago, and I learned from that a lot. It was like an eye-opener for me, so I want to share my point of view now here today as well, because I'm hoping that you could also learn from me. Like, it might be something that you've never thought about. But anyway, let me explain. You see, the thing is, the reason why I love snail mailing so much is because all of my attention goes to this one thing I'm doing, this one letter to a friend, this this outgoing mail that I'm working on. And that brings me a lot of calm. It brings me a lot of inner peace, because I think we're all pretty used to it right now. Our attention pinballing around. We've got social media, we've got TV, we've got Netflix, we've got advertisements. The whole day we are being like bombarded with impressions and things to think about and advertisements and all of that. Like, the whole day our attention gets like torn into different directions. We get pulled into different directions the whole day, and I like to look at that as if it's pinballing. Like, my attention is kind of pinballing around all of these different topics, and it starts when I wake up in the morning. I check Instagram, I check YouTube. I do not actually check Facebook anymore. I stopped with that a long time ago. That is good. Sometimes I still do if I'm like really bored, but I check my YouTube comments, my Instagram, I check my Snapchat, all of that. Snapchat is only for my friends. I do not have that public, but my attention immediately, right when I wake up, attention is like all over the place. I'm like all over the place. I get so many impressions, it's a lot. And during the day that continues, because I'm constantly checking my YouTube and my Instagram, mainly my blog ones. I get a lot of comments, I get a lot of messages, and if you've messaged me in the past couple of weeks, please don't feel guilty. I'm not saying this to guilt trip you, but it is not like, I get sort of obsessed with checking it. Like, people message me and then I feel like I have to reply. People comment on my videos, I feel like I have to reply. I feel like people expect something from me. I have to live up to a certain something, and that is not on you. That's not on anyone but myself, because that's just a mindset. So that is why I want to focus and like reset my mindset again when I'm at my parents. So what I'm gonna do is I'm obviously still going to be checking YouTube and Instagram, but hopefully a lot less. If I do not reply to you, do not take it personally. It is not because I don't want to talk to you, it's just because I feel like I need a break. And again, this is not on anyone but myself, but I've done this a couple times already over the past years. For example, this is just me in the background. I'm peeling off a couple of the wax seal drops, because I thought I kind of overdid it. I did too many wax seal drops, so I'm just gonna cover that up with washi tape and other little bits and pieces, because it was a bit much in my opinion. But I've done this a couple times over the past, because I feel, that's gold leaf, I feel that we're probably all the same, but I feel that I'm a little bit more sensitive and more easily distracted. I don't know, like, it does more with me when I'm easily distracted. I get more tired, I get more annoyed, I cannot focus on multiple things at once. the reason why I'm showing you this envelope and not the reason why I only show you this and not make it with you on camera is because we decorated this envelope in one of the live streams we did. So I decorated that with you lot together. I think I did that over on Instagram, although I don't exactly remember. But that's all vintage, like little stamps and a vintage floral image. But like, if you think I'm complaining, please, this is not meant to be complaining. This is just meant to explain my point of view, and also to kind of tell you that it's okay if you are like me, not very good at dealing with all of these different informations coming your way the whole time. Because years ago I would be in those like WhatsApp groups, like friend groups, you know, just to keep up to date with my friends, and I actually quit doing that. I'm still in one WhatsApp group with my friends, and I'm also in a group with my family, but we basically only use it to like, I think my friend group, we're only active like once a month or something. Nowadays a little bit more, because we just send messages like, hey, who wants to do like a video chat tonight or something. But in general, that group is not active at all, because we do not share our everyday activities. We do not share like updates really in that, like only the real important ones, like, oh hey guys, I got a new job or something like that, you know. We only share the big updates, and that works for me because I do want to stay up to date with my friends. I do want to know what they're doing, but I feel like I'm not very good, or I do not handle like the daily updates very well, because it's just a lot on my brain. I know I sound very whiny, but I've learned that that is not something that I deal with well, like trying to stay up to date with 100 people's lives. That's not something I deal with very well. And then I am learning to accept that, because who says that we have to like stay up to date with all of our friends' lives? What I do now is I want to hear from them when they've got big updates, and then the smaller updates we just discuss whenever I see them in real life, or when I see them on like Skype nowadays. But that actually works for me really well, because who says that we need to know what everyone is doing all the time? So that I did that a couple years ago. Like I actually deleted Facebook off of my phone. I put it back now because sometimes I still like to use it. Actually I started using Facebook again when I got a new job, because people were adding me there, and sometimes occasionally I'll just check Facebook, but I mainly check it because of the pages I follow, and not actually because I want to keep up with people's lives. It sounds really rude. It's not that I don't care, it's just sometimes it's a bit much, and I would much rather catch up with people in real life, like I said. But like I said, I already did that couple years ago with like my real life, but now my online life, like my blog and my YouTube, it's getting a lot more active, and I'm getting a lot more messages, and I need to again find a balance in that. And again, that's not on anyone, that's on me, but I feel that I desperately need to focus on what I can handle and what I want to handle. And a couple of months ago I already disabled like people commenting on my Instagram stories. So if I follow you, let's say I follow one of my pen pals and she replies to my story, that is still possible. But if I do not follow someone, then they cannot reply to my story. They can still message me directly, but it takes away a lot of the unnecessary buzz, I would say. Like a lot of times when I would upload a let's say a cat Instagram story, like I would upload a little video of my cat, I would get like 10 comments from people saying, oh, she's so cute, and I like that because my cats are cute. But it does create a lot of unnecessary buzz. Like at first I thought it would be rude to disable those comments, but I don't actually miss them that much. Like if someone wants to talk to me about something real, then obviously they still can, but it created a lot more comms, like I now only have to check Instagram for like the actual more necessary messages, and not less necessary ones. Again, I'm not saying this because I want to make anyone feel guilty, because I do that as well. If someone uploads a cat Instagram story, I'm gonna say because I love cats and I like talking about cats. So I'm not like guilt tripping anyone, I'm not blaming anyone. I do that too, but I know from myself that it's something that I don't deal with very well. Does that make sense? So there came a time where I wouldn't want to upload cat images anymore. Cat images is just an example, but there came a time where I wouldn't want to upload anything to Instagram anymore because I couldn't deal with the positive feedback. That sounds so weird, but it was just like a constant pinball machine. Like my attention got thrown into different directions and it cost me so much energy and I couldn't deal with that very well. So like I already made the adjustments then, but now I feel like I need to make the adjustments again. I really hope this makes sense, and I'm not saying this to tell you guys not to message me anymore, because if no one would message me, I would be sad. Like talking with you all and getting to know everyone, that's like one of the most fun things about this whole blog experience. Trust me. I'm not just saying that so that I come across as a nice person. I mean that. So that is also mainly why I need to find the balance, because I want to continue enjoying it without being overwhelmed. So that became a very serious, very long story, but that is what I meant when I said that I need to sort of refocus my energy, because I still want to talk to you all without being overwhelmed. So I need to, yeah, I don't know, maybe I need to set certain times in the day where I will check my messages. Maybe I just need to like send a heart instead of replying to every message. I don't know yet. If you have any tips or tricks, please do let me know. Also let me know if you are sensitive like I am, because I would love to know that I'm not the only one. But I just wanted to share that with you because, like I said a long time ago, I saw that on Instagram from someone who was dealing with similar experiences, like getting messages and feeling overwhelmed having to reply to them all. So, and I learned a lot from that. Like I learned that it's okay to say, hey, I cannot deal. Like I cannot deal, that sounds so dramatic, but I mean, it's okay to say that it's a bit much for you, or that maybe it doesn't suit you as well, because writing letters suits me a lot because it's offline and it's calm and all my attention is in one place, and maybe chatting online does not suit me a lot. And that doesn't mean that I cannot enjoy it, because I do, but it does mean that I need to find my balance. Okay, so I almost deleted my entire voiceover because I just listened to it again and it sounds so dramatic. It's not dramatic, it's just something that is from me getting a lot more attention now because I'm like stuck inside and all I can do is think. But to make it less dramatic, I will leave you with an example. For example, I'm doing household chores, right? My like least favorite thing next to exercising. I'm doing household chores and then I get a message on Instagram, so I check it because I'm like obsessed with Instagram. I'm like, so I check that message, I read the message, I reply, take my time to reply, and then I start like looking at all our Instagram messages, and I start looking at Instagram posts, and then I check my YouTube again, and then like half an hour has passed and my chores are still not done and my attention is like completely elsewhere. So that's a small example just to show you what I'm talking about, but I do really hope that I'm not the only one who experiences this, and I also hope that it's not too dramatic because it may sound a little bit weird. But that was my story. It became a lot longer than I had anticipated, but I will talk you through the mail once more. As you could see, I decorated the inside of the flip book. I used a vintage first of all, I used the wrapping of the box on the left page. You will see it again in a second. There it is, the left page. That like brownish pink paper. I used that to decorate the left page because obviously the inside was blank. And then I covered that up again with a vintage image that I received from someone in the mail. And then I used some washi tape samples to decorate around that. On the right side of the page, I did a vintage pocket made with vintage paper, and I had to reinforce the sides with some washi tape because the paper was actually tearing. In the background of that I did a vintage note, like a vintage looking note paper to decorate the white page again, some stickers, some washi tape samples, and then some washi tape like tearing. And then that is the flip book. I also made a little goodie bag. I was originally planning on putting the goodie bag on the left page, but I ended up liking it so much I didn't want to cover it up. So I just decorated a craft paper little baggie with a doily, some of those washi tape stickers that are in the box, and a stamp, and then I filled that with vintage goodies. So that is my project. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you guys are all doing okay. Like I said, I'm not home, so I'm not doing a live stream this week, but I hope that is okay with you all. Like, use that time to do some mind resetting of your own, I guess, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave it a thumbs up, and have a good day. Bye bye.